What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Terp Trends, where we're bringing together two worlds that are riding waves, surfing and hash. Our guest today is Travis Dauria, an educator with the higher function, where he's known for breaking down premium concentrate education and elevating budtender knowledge across the East Coast. Travis is as passionate about hash as he is about surfing. Man, that's saying something. When he's not in a classroom or on the sales floor teaching about terpenes and solventless, you can find him chasing down waves on the Jersey Shore. His career spans into cultivation, concentrates, and retail, giving him a 360 perspective of the cannabis industry firsthand. Today, we'll dig into the art of hash, the parallels between the surf culture and cannabis culture, and why education is the backbone of this industry. Travis's mission is clear: help both staff and consumers ride the wave of knowledge with confidence. This is Terp Trends. Let's dive in.
Nice. And I'm happy to knock the dust off because it's been a few weeks, so I'm happy to be ripping with a homie here. We're back for another episode of Terp Trends. That's right, I keep going. People are coming on and it's a good time. We're all loving it. We got a little East Coast homie, my man Trav, repping out of New Jersey. I'm sure on the socials you've definitely seen him. If not by himself surfing the waves, I know you've probably rocked with him at the higher function tents or events. So that's the man hooking you up behind the counter. Trav, man, what's happening?
Oh, what's up? Thank you for having me on today, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. For sure. It's just an honor that you're willing to do it, brother. That's all.
Hey, man, what you're doing is fantastic. I love the way that you connect the community to the people and help get the word out with what's going on. So I'm just happy to connect with you and chop it up.
My man, I appreciate it. So, Trav, give us a little insight about what's going on with you, a little bit of who you are, what you're doing currently, and then you know the way things are going to go. We're going to roll it back a little bit to see what was happening before all this.
You sounds good. All right. So currently I am working with the Higher Function, an educational program, as you mentioned, throughout New Jersey, emphasis on education on concentrates, right? We're out there to educate and elevate the New Jersey market. Solventless concentrates, methods of consumption. What is solventless? It can be a very intimidating thing to look at, for those flower consumers who have been rolling joints their whole lives, So we touch on that. But who I am and what gets me here, got into the licensed cannabis industry in 2009. I started as a bud tender. I was actually working, I had a beach service and I was doing beach sales and surf lessons, like renting umbrellas, chairs, doing surf lessons.
Oh, yeah,
And
dude.
I have a son who's 18 currently. When he was 1, he went through a battle with cancer. Um, he's a cancer survivor, survived a Wilms tumor, and he's fantastic and healthy to this day. Ever since the day of watching him go through what he went through, I've constantly been wanting to be healthier and taking a second glance at my life of how we can refine the way that we live, right? Our medicine, our food, everything. And that's kind of what really gave me a draw to getting into cannabis. Why did I leave my beach service business on the beach and go to be a bud tender, right? So with the blessing of my family, I did that and I entered as a bud tender, and I entered day one, pretty much in New Jersey here when it was strictly medical. So it was extremely personal. We were doing a lot of patient consultations. I worked with patients one-on-one through the medical, ushered in through the whole COVID stuff, and then we got into med, right? So that was a riot, and I was in front of house, and then I was transferred into cultivation. I spent about 2 years in cultivation, and then bounced around, wound with a tissue culture company. Found
Sick.
what's behind the plant, right? Because when you work with the plants, if you don't have fire genetics, you really can't do much. You can have the best lights, the best nutrients, the best cultivators, but without strong genetics, we really have nothing.
Correct.
So I delved into tissue culture, and
So sick, dude.
yeah,
We touched base with this when I met you in that store, which I was so like when I walked out and I saw you, I was like, "Yo, the homie's here. This is so cool." Because I've been wanting to rap with you, and the more and more I've seen you through Eric, um, when you told me your history with all that, I was like, "Yo, this man knows some stuff, dude." How was that breaking into that field? Because that's pretty sick.
yeah, that was a complete new learning experience. Was phenomenal. I immersed myself into it, learning the benefits of tissue culture, to the consistency of the plants that we're keeping, holding our genetics, storing our genetics. Keeping these, keeping a mom room with moms. If you and I do a pheno hunt, obviously there's what we call a genetic drift or a generational drift. So if we pheno hunt a certain seed, we'll say lemon skunk for the sake of this discussion, right? That's our Gen 0 plant, and that's our mom. So if we take a cut off of her, the next plant is a Gen 1, then that next mom would be Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, so on and so forth. So then we deal with what's called a generational drift. You'll see a bit of inconsistencies in test results, inconsistencies in harvest results. Okay. So the way that we avoid that in tissue culture is keeping it consistently Gen 0. They call them tissue culture clones. They're from meristem, kept in a petri dish. They are viroid and pathogen free. So we don't have to deal about those moms getting sick. I don't know if you've ever been in a mom room, you've seen sick moms. It's very easy
Brutal.
that a whole mom room could go down,
Yeah.
Tissue culture is something that has been well alive and strong in the agricultural community for 10 to 20 years now. And cannabis is really just starting to grasp onto it, I think, and seeing the benefits of it. But it's phenomenal, not only for the benefits that I just mentioned, but for the benefits of space. Mother rooms, say 20 by 20 feet, can hold X amount of moms, where in a tissue culture lab, I need a room about the size of your bathroom with
Yeah.
some shelves and LEDs, and we have petri dishes. So when we're talking about square footage of a facility and we're talking about staffing, there's 100 million reasons why tissue culture is so beneficial. That being said, I got involved with them. We're doing pheno hunts, finding the right genetics, locking them in, and then sharing them with different cultivators around the East Coast, which was a blast. I got to work with some really talented cultivators doing different pheno hunts and just delving into all these different genetics, which ones are real washers that really dump, which ones are the gassy ones, which ones are the candy ones, and just having so much fun, playing with every strain.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
phenomenal how many genotypes you can see within a phenotype
Yep.
that you run and the
Yeah.
differences from one to the other. It's like, I like to use the analogy of having children. You can have three kids,
Yeah.
and I don't want the jock, and I don't want the straight A student, but I
Yeah.
want the one that's both, right? And
Yeah.
that's what we're doing at Pheno Hunt, what we're looking for. So ultimately, that's what we're doing, and we're locking them down tissue culture. And I was like, okay, this is really what's pushing the whole industry, right? Strong, clean genetics, right? So
Yeah.
this is the real bookmark, if you would, at the end. And then after that, I came back to New Jersey, and I met Eric.
Yeah. And where were you when you were doing this?
I was up in Maine.
Maine, dude,
Yeah.
sick. So sick. Great genetics in Maine. A lot of great hash in Maine, which means great genetics and good flower. That's awesome. And so it's so cool because you've had such a opportunity to work two of the yin and yang aspects of this industry, right? You started as a bud tender, you're behind the counter helping the community that way, and then you really developed and like dug into, no pun intended, getting your hands dirty in the grow and learning that. And it's kind of like two different people in a way, you know? It's like front of house and back of house of cannabis. Where do you think you aligned with the most there? Did you have a
Uh,
preference?
that's a really tough question, to be honest with you, because there's huge rewards from both. You know, when I was working as a bud tender or a wellness consultant, or when I was in the front of the house in any capacity, and I was dealing with patients, some of those connections that you had on the drive home made your hair stand up.
Yeah,
You know,
dude. Oh yeah.
uh, you would hear some stories, and you'd be able to impact and help people's lives, and you'd get positive feedback, and whether it was they were off of a certain drug or alcohol, or you were helping them sleep because of this medicine without taking pharmaceuticals, or they were able to eat because they
It's
were
li-
sick.
it's life-changing.
It really is. And I would drive home some nights from bud tending, with my eyes teared up coming down the parkway of like just reminiscing my day.
Yeah.
And no dollar amount that's put on a check can ever give you that feeling of
No.
helping.
No. And I think that because me, I've done a little bit of both, a lot of bit of both. Having those just crucial experiences in the store with the lives that you're just touching, helping out, and seeing the quality of life come back, like after a few weeks, like another stage is back. Like you see their glow come, and it's just I think it's really important as a cannabis enthusiast or someone in the scene to have that type of experience to just like really guarantee why we do what we do. Um, I've never seen so many individuals get turned around just by using this plant, and I'll never change my outlook because I've seen it just in my own eyes. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. But it's cool to know how this medicine gets to be the way it is.
Yeah, right. So that like to lead to the next part of it, right? So after touching all those patients, like I said, then I moved into cultivation and I fell in love with the plant
Yeah.
as much as I fell in love with helping the patients. I say to people, consuming cannabis is not addictive, but cultivating cannabis is 100% addictive.
It's true. It is true. Once you
You know,
learn it, it's just in you.
yeah, there's something magical, that connection with the plant, to be able to take a seed, take it from seed to sale, if you would, to
Yeah.
go to the harvest and to do that with your own hands. It's kind of like you're the first time you home cook a meal,
Yeah.
right? You're like, wow, I did this.
Yeah. I think the first pheno hunt as well is always like a landmark to just see all the different characteristics of like what's happening in your own little like area. And you're like, dude, I'm in charge of all these little fuckers. Like, what are we doing? How's it all gonna shape out? Are you gonna be out of the tent? Are you gonna stay? It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, when cultivating, I'd say pheno hunting is probably my favorite part of cultivating.
Yeah.
Again, because you just see so many different characteristics within those phenos, right? You can A pheno hunt can end so many different ways, and I love doing trials throughout phenos. Just
Yeah.
going through and just really getting in depth. Like I'll go in there and we'll measure our nodes every week, and we're doing like vigor. Okay, if vigor rates through veg, and how they're bulking through flower, and then you get to the end and you think you got your winner, and then you cure them, and then you had this one here that you thought was a sleeper, but after she cured, the nose on her is amazing, and the bud structure on her is gorgeous. So I like having those little sleepers, pop out of the pheno hunts too.
It's so sick.
It's amazing, and you never know what you're gonna find in there because you always go in, like, thinking that you have a goal,
Yeah.
and 9 out of 10 times, there's, like, a little surprise in there.
Always a surprise. Always a surprise. Dude, so you're ripping and rolling in the scene. You're getting your hands dirty. When did you when did you first start coming across cannabis, Like what age, where were you at, what were you doing? What was that like for you? Were you always into the plant, you know? Or
Yeah,
did that kind of happen somewhere down the road?
yeah, it was probably around, in my teens, and
Tight,
I was working, for a surf school, and
tight.
some of the older guys that I was working with, after an afternoon of surf, introduced me to the plant, and, it was just a natural connection.
Yeah.
I can remember my first session. It was sitting on the beach after a surf, and enjoyed a joint with a couple of the guys and sat there and watched the sunset. And there was just a connection with the sunset and the ocean and the mist. It was like I felt truly connected to nature in a way that I never was.
Yeah,
And then, of course, I approached it in a recreational aspect.
for sure. And I think for some listeners that may not know, like the surfing culture and the cannabis culture are so intertwined that you wouldn't believe it. But a lot of our genetics, like we got those from surfers traveling around just chasing waves and bringing stuff back. And it's kind of crazy when you kind of chase different lineages and how they got there, who brought it and when. And there's a lot of surf culture that kind of intertwines with cannabis, which I think's pretty rad.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm traveling down in Brazil for a surf trip, why not go for a hike up in the mountains and see if we can find a land race?
Yep.
It's, you know,
That's that's yeah, that's pretty much what they did, dude. The homies just freaking saw the gold and brought it back and shared it. And it's pretty cool. I always love digging into like lineages, history and stuff like that. So that's cool. You're surfing, you came across cannabis. What were you doing before that? You just stayed true to getting on the beach scene cuz that's a pretty rad life to leave, man. Like I did the whole the umbrellas, chairs and just chill out and it's a dream. It's a nice gig.
it's really nice, they say work a job you love and you never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, dude.
So I'm lucky enough that I've really found myself in two of those aspects, both with when I'm working around the ocean and working with cannabis. Um, Prior to that, when I was younger, I worked in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, sick.
And
Same.
That's pretty much where I was before that. But my been spent on the beach and with cannabis, my adult life thus far.
Yeah. Yeah. And how's it been kind of carrying that legacy and now being at the forefront of education with higher function? Because you guys rock, dude. Seeing you guys live finally, like in action, and just the acceptance of the crowd and how stoked everyone is and how you all handle it, like it's impressive. And I'm grateful that you homies are there doing it.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for coming out to the events. Thank you to everyone else that comes out to the events. Shout out to Eric and the rest of the higher function crew. We couldn't do it without all of us as a team. Collectively, everyone brings something to the table. So it's a fantastic team to be a part of. That itself is a rush like no other. Um, you know, Concentrates are a very, as we said earlier, a very intimidating thing to come into, right? We talk about methods of consumption, we talk about size, we talk about dosage, we talk about temps, right? For someone who's been rolling joints their whole life, like, eh, I'm in,
Intimidating.
I'm rolling joints. It works, right? Like, you want me to buy an $80, $90 gram, buy a $300 Puffco and try to figure this out, you know? So when I have those people approach me at these events, I love that challenge of that, hey, I've smoked flower my whole life. I don't need this. That's great. And we get to start talking about concentrates. The majority of the market don't even understand really what solventless is. New Jersey's market, if we look at our menus, they're phenomenal now. We have huge menus, and we can almost be like deer in headlights when we go into a dispensary. So we try to break that down and simplify it for the consumers, just educating them on simple baseline things. Live, right? Live harvest, frozen, not cured and dried. Solventless, simply what is solventless? The number of people I interact with, and I explain that solventless extraction just is ice and water and then heat and pressure. And we use a freeze dryer to remove the moisture in between. And their eyes just like light up, right? And then so I'll have a little bit of talk with them and then explain that we just need a little piece the size of a grain of rice or the size of a match head to put in there. I'll explain them temperature. We're looking for that range from 480 to 520. Show them on the device how I have it set for them. And I'll explain to them you're not going to hit this like a bong, sip on it like it's a nice fine glass of wine, like a nice cognac. I like tell them it's all about flavor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we've all had that terrible first dab experience, right?
Oh,
Or or,
terrible.
or, or we've heard of it. So that first initial experience is so crucial. And giving that to the community and introducing them to the world of concentrates is something that is just as rewarding as having those consultations with those patients, right? When I see someone's face light up as they exhale and taste those terps for the first time at 485, nice low temp dab, they look at me and smile and go, "Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
dude.
just I've just kind of opened the door for this whole new part of life that you're going to really enjoy."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a fantastic thing to be a part of, and our events are definitely a high touch education where it's not your traditional dab bar where you're just coming up and getting globbed a dab. We like to say you're going to get educated and elevated.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's sick. And you guys can operate in the lounges now as well, because Jersey's launching those, right?
yeah. So we've done one activation in a New Jersey lounge. I was in Sunny Tea and Lounge in Atlantic City, right after, so we did an activation there, which is an even more friendly platform to bring everyone into. Now we can tie more brands into. Everyone can come in and really sit down and feel comfortable enjoying the product and ask any questions, which is making it approachable. I find that you know I don't know if you remember when you learned how to roll a joint for the first time, but I was a little nervous. I was
Yeah.
really nervous,
I
and so I like
practiced
to.
and practiced and practiced, dude, until I had
Yeah,
it
right.
down.
Right.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we spilled it, right? And we
Yep.
had the ones that were like fat on the ends, or they
Oh,
were splitting, or there'd be
yep.
we got it just right, and then a stem pop through, right?
The worst.
Trial and error and education from our friends, and it was something new to us. And I can remember when I sat down and in my teens, and my uncle sat down and showed me how to roll a joint. Oh, this is how you roll a proper joint. And so I always like to use that analogy with everyone is, hey, we didn't wake up and all know how to roll a perfect joint, right? Being coachable as humans, I think is huge. Coming up to the table, a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't really understand concentrates. That's okay. I didn't understand concentrates one day. We all started at square one. We all had somebody come and take us and explain to us, hey, this is what solventless is all about. This is your method of consumption. So for the public to understand, hey, it's okay not to know, I think is huge. It's okay to walk up and say, I don't know anything about this. I want to learn more. That's what we love, that openness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a consumer coming into the market in this year, never consumed before, and you have to look at a menu, or you go to a store, unfortunately, that's like only kiosks and no one's really interacting with you. And it's like, where do you even start? Obviously, you have flour, you know what that is. You have edibles, they probably know what that like those are. But when it comes to concentrates, like the landscape can be so huge, and then you have subcategories of concentrates, and then you have different, levels to it all, and it's just like, whoa. So the way that you guys capture all of that in such a seamless way, it's so sick, dude.
Thank you. It's honestly we're just being ourselves, and we're just having a passionate interaction with the guests that we truly enjoy. Everyone on our team are truly passionate about what they do, and they're there because they want to share what we know with everyone else because someone took the time to share it with us one day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And what do you see? Do you see usually more people that don't know what concentrates are over people that do, that come up to the tent? And usually are they pretty receptive and then leaving pretty fulfilled with knowledge of like, I could probably do this at home?
Yeah, the feedback after an event is definitely something that we definitely stoke over. We get a lot of really positive feedback during and after the event. I'd say it's a 50-50 mix. You have people that come up, they know what concentrates are, they know what dabs are, but they're not really too sure about how they should maintain their rig. They might have a puff go and they may not have been cleaning it properly, or they don't understand the temp settings. So we have those guests that come up where we can just help fine tune their consumption. And then we have the guests that come up who maybe don't understand concentrates at all. They've never ever laid eyes on solventless in their life. So then we can have that base discussion. We also have those heady gurus that come up that they know concentrates, and that's great because then we can start talking terpenes, and we can start talking, even delve deeper into what we have in that jar and how each jar is going to affect them differently.
But yeah, that's it's just great to see how you guys handled it. Just handling concentrates, asking people what they're comfortable with, and then walking them through all the steps. And it changes people's aspects, because I think once you do start consuming concentrates, I grew up on flour, right? I didn't start learning about hash maybe until like 2006, 2007. And that was bubble hash. And I remember the first time I saw like shatter, and it was on one of the swings back in the day when we had rigs and swings and torches and things.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at my homie and just being like, yo, what are we doing here, pal? Like, what's going on? And then they had to walk me through the levels of hash and like what this was. And once I learned that, like, that's all I wanted. Flour was cool, but it's kind of a nuisance. I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad saying that, but you can't always just smoke a joint anywhere anymore and go on with my day. Maybe that's just because I'm getting older and my tolerance is getting a little more squared away, but a dab here and there, man, is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's cleaner for our bodies, to be honest, right? Because when we're washing rosin with water,
Hmm.
ice, pressure, and heat, we're washing those trichome glands off with the resin glands, and we're getting everything you want, right? What we're leaving behind is the chlorophyll, right? The plant itself, the leaf that we don't necessarily need to smoke or ingest. So you're just getting straight terps, straight cannabinoids. You're getting just what you want. Where if you would, skimming off all the fat.
Hmm.
I'd have to say I'm with you. I'm definitely a concentrate enthusiast.
Yeah, yeah,
There's something about being able to take that, just little dab the size of a grain of rice, and you hit all the dots, right? Your flavor's there. Like I'm big on flavor. The flavor's there. It gets me mentally to where I want to be. And I mean, let's talk about technology real quick of these consumption devices, right? Like,
Yeah, dude. It's yeah. Well,
wow,
I'm glad we have them now because not to shatter the glass industry because functional glass is wicked and it will always be a part of our culture. But having to get the rig, get the right back in the day it was get a nail, get a dome. Now it's just like get a banger, get a top, get a quartz insert. Like it can be overwhelming. So these electric devices, they just simplify it so much.
absolutely. As a purist, my like, if we're sessioning together, I'm gonna pull out the quartz rig and the
Yeah.
dab right, and we're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
torch, and we're gonna take it down. But if you and I are hanging out on the beach after a surf, maybe it's a Puffco sesh there,
Yeah.
which is, or a Carta. And these e-devices that they're coming out with are just fantastic to where we can have this temp control. And not only for us, but for those new consumers who are coming into the market. We talk about the intimidation factor of concentrates.
Dude, right?
Intimidation factor of using a torch for a lot of people, right? Then we start talking lasers, and they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Wait,
I
torches and lasers?
yeah.
What's going on here?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like to say, dip your toes in the pool before you do a full cannonball.
Yeah, for
In
sure.
other words, those e-devices give you a great starting platform. It gives someone a device where they can easily get into concentrates, and as long as they're coached on how to maintain their device and how to use it correctly, they're going to have a fantastic experience. They're going to fall in love with concentrates,
Yeah.
and they're going to understand what all this hype is about.
I like the hype. What do you so do you have a preference? Because you guys use an assortment of different brands and rigs. Do you have a preference?
Ah, geez, okay.
I'll I'll
For all
I'll
right, so
make it a
there's a
little
time.
easier. So I've only really used Puffcos, and I personally only have Puffcos, but I am not opposed to trying something new.
Okay,
Um, so let's see your take on that.
yeah. So I think Puffco came out and definitely set the benchmark for e-devices when they came out. I've been playing with the Carta V2 in the
Yeah,
past
dude.
year,
Yeah.
and recently Carta launched the Carta Sport. I
Okay.
don't know if you got a chance to rock with that.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
see, that's what I'm
So
saying.
yeah, so the Carta Sport just launched. I think like a month or two ago. Recently,
So
just
what's
hit
that
the higher bar.
little like 6 incher? How big is it? If you could,
Yeah, it
is it
looks
like a
very
peak or?
yeah, it looks very similar to the Puffco Peak or the Carta V2.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
the Carta V2 was their first one and it has a digital screen on it. If you've
Yeah,
seen it at my events, right?
yeah, they're cool.
And that's the one. So with our Puffcos, and I'll explain the why I like one more than the other. And I like to say Apple versus Android, if you would.
No,
Um,
that's accurate for sure.
with Puffco, there's three preset temp settings on there that go
Hmm.
by color, right? With the Carta V2, I'm able to go in the screen and I'm able to change my temp setting degree by degree, literally
Yeah.
498, 499. The burn session, I can change by second by second. I can have a 32-second session, a 45-second session. We could have an 8-second session burn if we wanted to. With the original Puffco that just has the presets where you don't go on your phone, you didn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, Apple versus Android, they both have their advantages. The battery lasts longer on the Puffco than it does on the V2 that has the screen
Interesting.
because
Okay.
the V2 I get like 30 some hits out of because the screen's drawing battery, right? So I think that Carta noticed that too and launched the Carta Sport
Okay.
screenless, right? So
Screenless. Yeah.
screenless. And now everything's through your phone with the Sport, which is really cool.
Nice. And do they have their own app or do you have to download like a weird like different app to access the information? Because Puffco you have to like go through a different app, you know. Have you
Carta
noticed that?
actually has their own app. Yeah.
That's
Carta,
sick.
yeah, they have their, and then they actually give you reward points. So you get rewarded for doing dabs.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what the heck?
Yes. I mean, it's cool. It's like, you hit like 1,000 dabs, you get a pack of stickers, like,
Dude,
10,000. It's, yeah, you can go on your
that's
app and you log it. And if you have multiple devices, like for anyone listening, say like you and a friend get on the same, you can put your points all on one account, which is really cool.
oh man. So you guys are racking them up then. You guys got a lot of stickers.
Allegedly.
Yeah. No, that's so sick,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
So that's
Now
I love that. That's a cool idea for a brand in this culture. I love when I hear stuff like that.
it's fun. It makes it fun, you
And give
know?
back in any way you can. Stickers are dope.
Yeah. And now, like, to bounce back to Puffco though, like I'd like hats off to Puffco for their pivot that they've launched recently. I don't know
Yeah, dude. Oh
the
yeah,
things just
mine's charging right now.
yeah, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
And then I got the attachment, dude. You can put on your rig, so that you can
Yeah.
just like still hit your rig, still hit your
Yep.
headies, and
Yep.
enjoy. I like
And
that a lot.
yeah, the pivot is definitely a game changer. I see people out and about a lot with that.
It's the best.
It's, you know, I love that these companies are thinking of different methods of consumption. And I think they're really thinking about different aspects of life, like different, like,
Yeah,
all right, where are we and what do we need for this? Like, obviously, if Trav's at home, Trav's going to have his banger and his torch, but he can't do that if he's at X, Y, or Z location, right?
yeah,
So they're really giving something for everyone at any time or any level of consumer, right? Because coming into this, if I have a friend that's going to get started on concentrates, obviously I'm going to point them towards an e-rig to get started.
yeah, 100%.
That's the way to go. You dial in your temp. It's a no-brainer. I'm just going to walk you through cleaning and maintenance. And
Yeah,
then key now is clean product.
yeah, but yeah, that's not always easy to find, huh?
With a little bit of guidance, right? And
Yeah,
as we said, overwhelming because it's not easy to find. Because look at our menus in New Jersey now. I mean,
I'm
the labs
overwhelmed
are
when I look
throwing
at
down.
menus.
They're throwing down.
It's like, what the heck is all of this? Like three
Yeah,
big plasma screens, like circulating a menu, and you're just like, what is that? It's like the meme of the dude from Pulp Fiction, like looking around.
yeah, and I see that in everyone's eyes. And so we try to like help coach people. So when I go in as a consumer personally, when I'm making a purchase, I'm looking for keywords as I'm scrolling a menu. Okay, a few keywords I'm looking for. The first one is live, guaranteeing me flavor when I'm looking for concentrates. Second word I'm looking for is rosin, because I'm, as called by many of my friends, a solventless snob. And I wear that badge with pride.
We are one and the same, brother.
All right. So when scanning the menus, I try to narrow my decisions down by starting with those two simple terms. And I'd recommend that for anyone walking into a dispensary. Look for those live products, look for those solventless products. And there is you're going to see the difference in the price point when you look at them. And there is a slightly higher price point on a solventless product. But the way I like to look at it is like, hey, am I worth the extra 10 or 15 bucks if it's in budget? You know, I think my
Yeah.
body's worth it because I feel the difference.
Oh yeah. No, I'll very rarely hit something that's not solventless, and I can immediately tell. Even flour now, like I have to be selective because I can feel it. It like, and maybe it's in my head, but I don't think it is. So I stick to rosin, and some clean full melt when it's either cultivated by my hands or my homies.
Yeah, no, I mean, when we're talking about rosin, we're talking about full melt, right? We're talking about these clean concentrates.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is to so many of the listeners right now, they're probably like, wait, there's so many concentrates that we're seeing on the menu. There's so much out there, right? But why are we so adamant about solventless, right? Is it about the flavor? Is it about the high? Is it about body health? Yeah, it's about all that. It's about all that. And I like to say to people too, like, I'm going to spoil you. Once I bring you to the solventless world, you're not going to want to go back.
No.
It's kind of like if you've been having frozen burgers your whole life and you have a nice Angus burger,
Yeah.
you're never going to want frozen burgers again.
Yeah. Or it's like when you finally see what like good pot is, and like
Yeah.
smoke good pot for the first time. Like you went to Maine, you understood that was like. Um, you're just ruined. Because anything that's not, you're just like, dude, what is this? And rosin is just like the trophy of that. Once you have good rosin or good hash, it's hard to do anything else.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you just mentioned like that flower, and that kind of brings my thought back to fire in, fire out. with like, up in Maine and even in New Jersey now. I'd like to tote some New Jersey growers that I know they're doing living soil and they're starting to wash, small batch guys that we're starting to see come out. And that's just fantastic to see all that start to happen in New Jersey, like these small batch cultivators that are
Who
actually.
are any of them come off the top of your head? Let's give them a little shout out because I think it's important to highlight because Jersey's gonna start getting a little crazy. So it's now that I'm working this market, it's a wild market here in Jersey. So
Yeah,
if any
what
brands come to mind, dude, shout them out for people to check out and know where that quality's at.
Yeah, I mean, if like I'm all about living soil, I'm all about organic, I'm all about small batch. And there are a couple brands down South Jersey that are hitting that mark for me right now. I've had some really quality flower from EV Farms. Brighter Side has been throwing down some really terpy stuff. Victory Farms has definitely had some nice stuff. I don't know if you had a chance to try their sour blueberry when that came out.
Oh, no, but that sounds good.
Oh, that was a really nice. Have you tried Parks Grove flower?
Dude, I haven't tried any of the Jersey flower yet. So that's why I'm gonna keep this little marked here, this minute marker, so I know who I need to go to when I'm in these stores.
Yeah, so check out. I recently had Parks Grove the Keeper, which was fantastic, and I actually had a chance to talk with them. Um, and they may be starting to wash this coming winter, so we may be seeing some Parks Grove rosin coming
Okay.
out.
How you feel
Um,
about that?
Stoked,
Yeah.
stoked.
Yeah.
I think the more that we see on the market, the more of us out there washing, the more of us consuming rosin. I don't know if you're familiar, but the stats, the last I heard was 3 to 4% of the New Jersey's sales market legally is live solventless rosin.
Interesting.
Only 3 to 4% of the sales,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised because of the intimidation factor.
Yeah. And the price point compared to other concentrates as well. That's a big factor, I think, right now for a lot of individuals.
Absolutely. Everyone goes into the dispensary on a budget, with a budget in mind per se. I do at least. Like, when I walk in is I have X amount in mind I'm looking to spend. And so that impulse buy traditionally isn't there. So that's where our education with the higher function comes in and really making people feel comfortable with where they're putting their money, right? Because, we're all working hard for our money and we all want good, clean medicine. So going in and making a good decision on what you're going to do with your money, where you're going to put those hard earned dollars, and
Mhm.
how it's going to come back and reward you, helping these people make a confident decision they can walk out of the dispensary feeling good about is, again, something that we just take a lot of pride in. I can't tell you how many times my DMs will go off after an event and
Oh
people,
yeah, dude.
it's just like the
Yeah.
positive feedback of what was that rig I hit last night, or you know what was that solventless that you gave me on that third rip, and then I was, it's just like the positive feedback and the willingness to learn. Like, people want to learn. I think they're a little intimidated to come out and say, hey, I want to learn, you
Yeah.
know
Yep.
so once we can just break that barrier and be like, it's okay to not know, then everybody starts to open up, and then it just becomes a fun conversation that's simple and approachable.
Yeah. And it helps that you guys have kind of the way to do that pretty dialed in. And you're just very approachable dudes, and ladies that work with you. It's I think it's great for the community to have, and it's working in other states and other programs. It's really cool to see the East Coast adapting more to the culture and having these events. I know they've been happening, but now it's cool for me to be just here seeing it, just being from the East Coast. Um, it's so sick for the community, and that's what this plant's all about. Like, we all just want to get down and groove, and it's cool when we have that opportunity to connect openly and not feel guilty or feel like it's weird somewhere with like a bunch of people smoking weed where you're not allowed to. It's really cool to be able to do it openly with everybody in the community.
Yeah, being at these events and like feeling that whole stigma's off, being in at an event, whether it's indoor or outdoor, with hundreds or over 1,000 people I've been at events at, or who are all on the same page, right? We're all there with the same passion.
Yeah.
the passion for the plant,
Yeah.
right? And everyone's on a different level. And I learned at these events that everyone's just coming out to learn and to enjoy that vibe of like, hey, yeah, we're all here for the plant. We all love it. And whether it's a casual conversation when you're over getting a glass of water or getting something to eat with somebody, or you're at the dab bar, you're going to learn something because everybody there are like minded individuals. So, like, having these events that we're able to be part of and is amazing. Like, seeing the feedback that we're getting from the community, they love it. Like, the energy in the room speaks for itself. You've been to the events, you felt it.
Yeah. Oh, sick. It wasn't even a room, it was outside. You could feel it everywhere. And I think it's not only do you learn, like you definitely make a couple friends because everyone's there for the same reason. And it's a really cool safe space just for people to connect, to network, and like you said, to learn and just elevate. It's elevating cannabis altogether within the community, which is dope. But you guys aren't just doing that with people. You're working in the stores. Like you guys have a whole certification program. You're helping out stores and their bud tenders get educated the right way, which just transcends everything. How's that been?
Yeah, so that's been fantastic. Something that I definitely take a lot of pride in myself, right? Going back to when I started as a bud tender, things were, so intense, so intense. And now there's so big of a menu as we talk about that it's even hard for the bud tenders to translate that. So we do bud tender training and we do dab tender training. Dab tender training in the consumption lounges, and we've done bud tender training with different dispensaries throughout the state. Simply making those bud tenders more comfortable on how to have those conversations with their patients on the benefits of concentrates, methods of consumption, and to steer them in the right direction, whether it's someone who's been enjoying concentrates and they're simply making a recommendation for their what they're looking for, a terpene recommendation, or if they're guiding someone into their first concentrate experience. Now, when we do these bud tender trainings, obviously, you have 10 bud tenders. You're going to have one who knows everything about concentrates,
Yeah.
and then you have one who's never seen concentrates before in their life.
Yep.
So it's really, really fun to work with them. By the end of these classes, management, bud tenders, everybody's always fired up. Like it's like a concentrate fever by the end of the class. It's hard to get out the door. They're like grabbing us.
Yeah.
Wait, before you go, and we're happy to stop and talk more about. And that eagerness to learn gets me excited. I was talking with a bud tender earlier today. I was in a dispensary, and she came over and asked me some questions about concentrates, and I thanked her for stopping me,
Yeah.
and I thanked her for wanting to learn. You know,
It's so important, and I know now that I'm in and out of these Jersey stores, whenever I see the higher function certification framed up, I know I'm like, all right, cool, this is a store that I want to rock with. These are the homies, they've been through it, they know what's up. We can definitely jive in here, and it's good to see, man. It's good to see because not everyone's educated. People get in this industry in all different levels of knowledge or just interests of cannabis, or maybe none at all. It's just a job. I've ran into those people as well, and it's cool to see all the different levels, but they all do want to learn. And once you learn how to interact with that and get that knowledge to them, it's kind of game on, and it sparks a whole nother interest, and it just goes right out straight from them into the community and the customers. And I know those stores do a lot better than their competitors that aren't as educated.
yeah, education is contagious. It's definitely something that we feel and we see. It's something that they get fired up on. They'll start to learn, and then I'll have bud tenders reach out to me. Oh, I was in your when you did our class. You mentioned this. Could you delve into that a little bit more for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I love that. And as you just touched on, there are a lot of now that we're rec. I think we're over 200 dispensaries in the state now, New Jersey.
Almost 300, brother.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I don't want to misspeak there, but yeah, almost 300.
300
So
almost.
a,
Insane.
a a lot of bud tenders working really hard out there, and some of them are really just being thrown to the wolves, if you would.
Yeah. It's
Right?
brutal. It could be a brutal gig.
It can
Uh,
be.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
to represent, New Jersey's product correctly and accurately, spending some time with us and letting us help you be more comfortable as a bud tender, is something that's beneficial for both the owners, the patients, and the bud tender. It just makes the experience in the dispensary more comfortable for everyone involved. It makes the patient walk out with ultimately the best product for them, and the return on investment for the dispensary owner, obviously, priceless.
Oh, yeah. Seamless as well. You guys are wizards of your craft, I have to say.
Thank you
You
very much.
you
Just
got
something
it
we're all
figured
very
out.
passionate about.
Yeah, no, and you see it. It's really important when people work for a company and they all have their why factor of why they're with it rather than just a job. I mean, yeah, it's a job. It's boots on ground, but I think everybody who works for higher function has their individual why, and that's why it's so successful. And you guys are just kind of carrying this torch of education on the East Coast because you're not only in Jersey, you guys are kind of branching out more and more. What all states are you in now?
Thank you for asking. We were actually in New Jersey. We're active in New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Massachusetts.
Dude, yo, it's shout out Eric, man, because
Eric's
knowing
crush.
him knowing him from the beginning of this and seeing the way that he cultivated this beautiful company, it's he's the man. He's the man. It's magnificent to just watch and see it grow. Because I don't think it's stopping.
No,
You guys kill it.
no. And when I met Eric, I was introduced to Eric at NECAN
Sick.
by a close friend and colleague, and the introduction went something like this: Travis meet Eric, Eric meet Travis. You guys should talk solventless. And the friend walked away,
Solid.
right? And
Yeah.
then the rest is history.
Yeah. I'm sure that's all that was needed to be said. That's all that
Yeah.
needed to be said. That's
No,
sick.
but a huge shout out to Eric. He, the higher function is 100%, his brainchild, like his vision. He took the time and had the attention to sit back and see that the market really needed this. He took the time to really put together a curriculum that we could go in and talk to people with that was approachable and not overwhelming. And to this day, he continues to refine it as needed for the market. He doesn't put together like this cookie cutter, if you would, curriculum to go out with. Everything is based on what you need with every client. Whether it's an activation where we're serving dabs or it's an educational experience with a bud tender or dab tenders, everything is very high touch, very personalized for what that team or event needs. And I can't shout out him enough. I mean, just the attention to detail that he gives it. New Jersey, when I met up with him and he told me what he was doing, I was like, yeah, the state needs this and I want to be part of this.
Yeah. No, I think it's just remarkable. And I mean, shout out to him, but shout out to the crew. Cause you all just rock, and it's not always easy. I mean, it looks like it's what it is, but you guys have it figured out. But it's still a thing you got to do, and I'm glad you guys are doing it. I think it's great, and I think every state is gonna adapt to it, is gonna take it on, and I just hope some dispensaries listen to this and hit you up because it's
Yeah.
it's important, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing but positive feedback, right? Just to list a few, like we worked with Joy Leaf, we worked with Sunny Tian, we worked with Spot 23, and the list goes on and on,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And word of mouth is really just going crazy. My phone's blowing up, my emails are going off, Eric's are going off, and there's no cockiness when we're saying that. It's pride. We're very prideful to be carrying the flag for New Jersey, if you would, of concentrates and sharing the knowledge.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
this is something that I feel an obligation to the community to educate them.
yeah. And you're freaking nailing it, dude. What's in the horizon happening? You got any events coming up? Anything cool happening we can leak out?
We do. I actually this Saturday we're ramping up. Eric and I are going into a big weekend this weekend. We are
Ooh,
going. We've got Shore House Cannabis
sick,
down in Cape May. They're doing their Fall Fest on Saturday.
sick.
So we have an activation at their Fall Fest from all day. It's I think 11 to 6 event or 11 to 5. So we'll
And
be
is
serving.
that is that an open event? Can people show up, or do they need tickets ahead of time?
It is a ticketed event. I believe you can pay upon arrival or
Word,
prepay for tickets,
word.
but we're going to be rocking at that this weekend. And then this Sunday morning, I will be down in Cape May with Butter Cake at the Content House.
Nice, dude.
And we're going to do a Sunday send off brunch. Eric and I will be down there serving Mud Brothers products.
Nice.
Yeah.
What
So,
is the content house? What is that?
so the Content House, you're familiar with our good friends at Butter Cake here in New Jersey?
So the brand sounds really familiar, and I came across, I think it was like 2 nights ago. I think you guys probably posted it, and then I clicked on their account, and it seemed pretty cool. It was like baked goods, it seemed, and then they had like it seemed like a dissolvable strip or something like
Yeah.
that you eat. Is that Did I get that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Sick,
correct. It's very
sick.
similar to like those Listerine strips that you've seen, those breast
Ooh,
strips.
ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. How's
So you could
that?
take,
Have you tried one?
I have. I
Ooh,
have.
what's going on with it?
They're fun. The flavor is really nice, nothing too overwhelming.
Nice.
And it's discreet, right? Like you can literally like, it goes on your mouth, on your tongue, and it just melts away. Like
I
talk
was
about
intrigued when I saw it. I was like, dude, this thing's kind of got my attention.
well, shout out to them for that and their baked goods. If you're in New Jersey, so they launched their baked goods edibles, their
Tight.
peanut butter and jelly brownies, their oatmeal
Ooh.
raisin cookies.
Ooh.
Mata and
Jeez.
Yaz over there are doing their thing in the kitchen.
Okay. Shout
Mata,
out Butter Cake, man.
yeah. So I've been in their kitchen. I was blessed enough and had the pleasure of being invited into their kitchen, and they are culinary experts. Yeah. These two young ladies started, outside of the cannabis industry in culinary, and then brought it in. And what they're doing is just high end baked goods, cannabis infused. New Jersey's first, right? Because everything we see is gummies and chocolates. So these are the first brownies and cookies to bring to the market. Yeah. So they're the first ones to do it. And like, I'm telling you, I eat them because they medicate me, but I also eat them because they taste so good.
Important.
Yeah. They're delicious.
The
But
effects
so
are
what,
key, man.
yeah. They're throwing this thing though in KMA this weekend where they got a content house. Pretty much they get a house for the weekend and they invite some industry folks to come have a good time. They invite some different photographers and videographers to come hang out. They
Nice.
throw some events. They have different activations throughout the weekend.
Very cool.
So, like Friday evening, there's a welcome barbecue, I believe, poolside. Saturday, there's some different activations going on at their house with a jitney that goes back and forth to Fall Fest. Sunday, we kick it off Sunday morning. I'm doing some sunrise surf lessons.
Dude, sick.
And 10 a.m., Eric and I will be at the dab bar after the surf lessons doing dab bar for brunch. So this is more of that community stuff that we're talking about. Like, we need more of this.
Dude,
This is a community weekend.
that is so rad. I wish yeah, when I saw the post like 2 days ago, and I think I hit Eric up and I was like, yo, what's up with this? And he told me the day, and I was just like, oh man, I'm already booked. But like,
Uh,
I would have loved to get down there to see that because it sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah. It's the second one they're going to be doing, so I'm sure it will not be the last.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those just great moments where the community comes together.
Yep. Yeah, man.
And a lot, and we really just embrace like where we all started. A lot of the conversations are, where we all started, where we are now, and where we all see ourselves in the future. I see a lot of collaboration in the community, which really just makes me so happy. That's where I feel like everyone's going to get to the top. I feel like that's how we're all going to learn. I feel like that's how the best products are going to fall out into the market is when we're collaborating, when we're working together. Those competing and battling each other, I don't think that's not where it's going to, that's not getting to the top. Those are collaborating and working together.
Yeah. And I think Jersey from like the higher quality scene is more of a community standpoint. So I don't think it's competition per se. It's more of just like community elevation. Like, your homie will always jazz you up to do a little better if he's doing good, and then that's just like
how nature is. And I feel like that's how Jersey's going to be. Like we have these heady farms, these little small independent people that are just going to start ripping, dude. And other people better keep up because they're gonna come out and they're gonna be good. They're gonna be
Yeah,
really good, man.
there's some small batch like those ones we were talking about earlier. Like we're talking small batch main style cultivators, like 4-person grow teams,
Dude,
small
yes.
batch, living
Living
soil,
soil.
and trimmed. Yeah,
Yeah.
like no machine trimmed, living soil, no salts pushed through these plants, and people that really know what they're doing with these plants, people that are bringing in specific genetics for specific reasons,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
No, I'm stoked. I think the East Coast is gonna be really freaking cool in the next like 5 years. Not saying it's not cool now. I'm just saying it's on the trajectory and on the right path now to just keep getting cooler and cooler, man. And it's gonna start getting groovy.
I'll say it, East Coast is the Beast Coast.
Yeah, I agree, brother.
I
So,
mean,
oh, roll with it.
no, I was gonna say there's a lot of great product coming from the West Coast, but we've been cultivating out here for longer than we've had licenses, so stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's cool when some people from the shadows come out and they can learn how to rock, or they're willing to rock, and it just like it sticks, you know. But some of these growers, like, they don't need to do it. They have genetics that like no one even knows about. They're just doing their thing, and it's
Hmm.
when they do want to step out and bless us, it's always received very well. So I applaud the independent growers doing their thing in Jersey, sticking to their roots and putting quality out there.
Yeah, it's so sick. Just literally week by week, there's a new grower, a new fire. Like I got a text today about some new rosin drop that's coming, like,
Nice.
in next week or two. It's every day there's something new on my phone or in my email, something exciting, something new that's coming to the market. So the innovation, the excitement, the passion that's being brought to the Jersey market right now and being a part of it is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Trav, other than the events, what else is coming up for you that we can leak out? Where can people catch you? Where can they say what's up? How can they follow the journey? What's
Yeah,
going on?
so you can always follow us on the Higher Function on Instagram. I am the Surf Rat on Instagram. That's DA_Surf Rat. You can check my story. I'm always popping up ticket links. I'm always here to reach out to in South Jersey. I'm going to be in Sunny Tea and Lounge in Atlantic City every Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Oh, sick.
Oh yeah, so that's a new thing that just kind of came out. Every Tuesday and Wednesday nights, I'm going to be behind the bar serving up the terps
That's sick,
at
dude.
Sunny Tea and on Tuesday and Wednesday nights in AC. So
Do they have like a DJ there and stuff?
yeah, so they throw on different events.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal place. Have you been in the lounge yet?
Not Sunny TNs, but I've heard good things, man. I've heard good things.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. The team and I have been talking for a while, and after we did their training, me being close to home down here, they were like, "Hey, want to jump in here 2 nights a week?"
Yeah,
Absolutely, I would be honored. So
very
I am
cool.
beyond stoked to be joining their team and rocking with them and just interacting more with the public. It gives me more face time with the consumers
Yeah,
to
dude.
talk terps. You know what I love to do, right? So like I'm just gonna be behind the bar talking terps all night.
It's
Come
such
on.
a who would have thought that this would be a cool gig that you could be rocking? Like that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick to just be able to have that job available for somebody nowadays is that's a great opportunity. So they got the right dude for that. That's for sure.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I don't think 17-year-old Trav would have ever envisioned this.
Dude, I don't think I saw like something like that or even thought of it, obviously bud tenders, but I never really thought about like bud tending or dad tending or being, in a lounge and just walking people through that experience. That's rad. That's
Yeah,
good. That's a good gig.
fun, just to be able to be in the bar and just like people are going to come in with flour and sit there and you smell the flour and talk terps with them
Yeah.
and walk them through their experience and like you want to talk genetics of what's behind the genetics that you're smoking and like delve into that and like I'm sure Sunny Tian's listening, but you guys are going to pay me to geek out on terps. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
This is great. This
Yeah.
is great.
That's how
Um,
I that's how I feel about my gig, just educating people on just minor cannabinoids and shit like that in the stores. Like it's so fun if you're like a weed nerd like you and I. You know, it's just like, dude, this is sick. Like just being able to talk to a bunch of people all the time about cannabis. That's dope.
yeah, people when I have these like even at events, people will thank me like, "Thank you for educating me and explaining this to me." And I'm like, "Look, if we were hanging out in my living room right now and we're doing dabs, like this is the same convo that's going down.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah.
is no difference. There's no script here. Like
Yeah.
I'm just being me. I'm just talking from the heart and I'm just talking from experience and
Yep.
sharing what I know. And also at the same time, having my ears open for anything that I can learn along the way. Like I'm literally trying to learn something every day of my life.
Oh yeah. And you will in this space. You know, no one's a master of anything when it comes to this industry. That's for damn sure.
Always something to learn.
Always something to learn. Trav, my man. We'll wrap again, but I was stoked you had some time. You gave me a shot. You got on here, and I'm hyped to get this episode out there, man.
Yeah, man. Adam, I can't thank you enough for your time having me on. I appreciated linking up with you. Hopefully, you'll be over on the Jersey side soon, and I can drop you some fat dabs.
Woo! Always, I'm stoked. I'll bring that e-foil, dude. That would be really cool. I've always thought about riding that like in the winter time, like in like a snow shot with the e-foil would be
Let's go.
definitely cold, but it'd be pretty sick. It would be
Well,
pretty sick.
I do have a surf photographer, a good friend that I work with that does water shots throughout the winter, and I have a winter suit. So if the recording's still on, everybody's hearing this. I put them on. I've got the 5 mil, the gloves, and the boots, and the ocean's right here. So come
Yeah.
on down.
Yeah, sounds good, my man. Sounds good. Well, Trav, I know I'll be seeing you around in some stores, but until then, man, be safe, drive safe, and I appreciate what you're doing, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. Stay hashy and enjoy your terps.